This is Jim Gardner, and you are looking live at the landfall of Hurricane Sandy. This is the ocean at Rehoboth Beach, Delaware. Sandy comes ashore, stirring up the ocean in this historic storm. We have been talking about this moment for days, and now it is here. Action News reporter Annie McCormick is live in Ocean City up the coast, but it's happening there as well. Annie, tell me what this looks like, what this feels like, what it even sounds like.
Well, here in Ocean City, New Jersey, Sandy has definitely made her presence known. In just the past hour, there's gusts of wind that feel about 50 to 60 miles per hour. They kind of feel like big punches as they come in. Then it'll be calm for a couple minutes. As for the rain, there really isn't as much as there was earlier in the day when it was coming down pretty hard. We, of course, have much more details coming up. Again, I'm Annie McCormick in Ocean City, New Jersey. Jim.
There we go. Here it is Monday night. The big story on Action News tonight is Hurricane Sandy. And to be strictly technical and scientific, she's here. Action News meteorologist Cecily Tynan and Adam Joseph have been educating the entire tri-state area about Sandy's journey and how her arrival will impact on our entire area. Cecily, let's begin with you at the Action News Big Board.
And Jim, Sandy is moving ashore as we speak, very close to Sea Isle City. And I tell you, it is coming in as a very strong storm. First of all, it's massive. I've been talking about this for days. It's about 1,000 miles across. Pressure is 940 millibars at last report. The lower the pressure, the stronger the storm. And why is this a factor? Because when you get a low pressure, it means that the storm is exerting less pressure on the actual water, on the ocean underneath it. So the lesser the pressure, the higher the ocean will be. And this really will contribute to storm surge. And it's moving very quickly to the west-northwest at 28 miles per hour. We will see that movement slow down as it interacts with land, as it gets that friction. Maximum sustained winds at last report 90 miles per hour. Now, something I do want to point out, the rain. The heaviest rain is moving inland right now. The center is just about there, and you can see how this is really a front-loaded system. The heaviest rain is west and really south of this, but we'll probably see some of this filling in. But again, the heaviest bands of rain that come with the highest winds are moving across Pennsylvania and Delaware right now. Storm Tracker 6 3D live showing that we are getting a break in the action, which really comes when you do see that eye wall beginning to move in near Atlantic City. But some of the buoy reports showing these enormous wind gusts near Cape May. Winds currently sustained 45 miles per hour, gusting to 62 miles per hour. I want to show another buoy report, and we go into the Delaware Bay, and here we have winds sustained out of the northwest, 49 miles an hour, gusting to 57 miles per hour. And the wave heights is something that we can show you live on Storm Tracker 6 3D as well. And you can see how south of Atlantic City, we're seeing wave heights around 16 to 15 feet. But you get north of Atlantic City, this is where the wave heights, many locations above 20 feet. And the storm surge is the most deadly, the most dangerous part of a storm system. And with this track moving into Cape May County, we're looking at a storm surge just to the north, 6 to 10 feet. Now, this is very important because 60% of the barrier islands lie 5 feet or less above sea level. So this is going to be causing a lot of problems. And south of it, we're looking at a storm surge 4 to 8 feet. So south of it, we're still getting a very large push of water, thanks to the fact that this storm system, unlike Irene, unlike any storm system we've ever experienced, is coming in perpendicular, not parallel. So this is what's really pushing that wall of water in ahead of it, and this wall of water to the south has no place to go. So that is also moving ashore as we speak. So this is why really the storm surge is the deadliest part of a hurricane. So hopefully all those folks heeded warnings, they got out or they got to the shelter, because here is the track that we do expect it will continue to push toward the northwest, and this will bring really the highest winds inland as it moves. So landfall zone as we speak near Sea Isle City. It's in the process. Bay and the ocean are merging over the barrier islands. If they haven't been submerged yet, they will be. The highest storm surge, it's not out of the question, could be up to 15 feet, although I think in general we're looking at about 6 to 10 feet. In addition to the storm surge, we do have winds. We do have rain. For more on that, let's head over to Adam Joseph. Adam.
Yeah, most of us inland are feeling that torrential rain. We're feeling those strong winds as the center of Sandy makes that landfall. And that storm surge itself will be on the high side, as Cecily mentioned, between 6 and 10 feet along not only Long Beach Island, but as far south as the northern part of Cape May County. Also Wildwood between 4 and 8 feet in the bay. We cannot forget about that. In Delaware, we will see a wall of water is 2 to 4 feet high as high tide comes in, which is going to happen around 8 o'clock tonight. As we look at Storm Tracker 6 live, not only can we see rain, but we can also see the wind trajectory around Sandy. Winds around a cyclone, a hurricane, a tropical system, low pressure are always counterclockwise. So you're seeing these streamlines. That's the wind direction. Right now, it is pushing right onto the shore of Long Beach Island, coming in out of the east-northeast and into Atlantic City. So it's piling up the water. This is where the worst storm surge will be from Atlantic City points to the north. South of that center throughout Cape May and the beaches of Delaware, that storm surge won't be as high. It's still going to be horrific, but it's not going to be as high as the northern wall because you can see the winds are coming in off of the land. But as that low continues to push to the north and west, the winds will switch direction, and everyone at the shore is going to continue to see those winds coming in out of the southeasterly direction. Here are the present wind gusts. Atlantic City 55 miles an hour, Dover 53, Trenton 46 miles an hour, Philadelphia 41, where Annie McCormick is, our reporter in Ocean City. She will start to see a bit of a lull because the center of the storm will pass through. In the center of the storm, things are relatively calm around that eye wall, and then things will start to pick back up at the shore after the center of the storm moves inland. Here are some of those impressive wind gusts so far. Tuckerton, 88 miles an hour. Harvey Cedars, 75. Atlantic City, we've had a peak wind gust now to 77 miles an hour. Northeast Philadelphia, up to 70 miles an hour. And also Northeast Philadelphia, that was an early report of 59, but now it is up to 70. As we take a look at some of the rain bands, we have light rain off to the north, but look at the void. Here is that void where the center of Sandy is moving in, and we can close in just to the north of Seattle City. So this is where we're getting a break in the rain, a break in the intense winds. Just south of there, this between Cape May, say, Stone Harbor, and also Avalon, getting some intense rain and wind, and that continues into Delaware off to the west. But this hole will continue to push to the west, and the rain will wrap back in as Sandy approaches not only the I-95 corridor, but points west. Coastal flood warnings are up. Again, high tide, 8:30 this evening along the shoreline, waves between 15 and 22 feet. So there will be major, if not record, tidal flooding, not only in the back bays, but also on the oceanfront property and also going up the Delaware River by Philadelphia. It's about 2 o'clock in the morning. So here are those high tide times. Atlantic City at 8 p.m., Cape May 8:34. This is when the worst flooding will occur. Rehoboth at 8:11, Reedy Point, excuse me, just before midnight, and then in Philadelphia, the worst flooding because of that tidal surge, Jim, coming up the Delaware River with all that water funneling up, and you have the fresh water trying to drain in, which it can't because it's like a cork that you're putting in. That will be at 2:22 in the morning. We'll have much, much more on Sandy and what's happening as she's pushing inland, Jim, coming up in a little bit.
Thank you, Adam. Thank you, Cecily. Let's tour the shore communities right now. We'll start south and work our way up north. Action News reporter Chad Pradelli is live in Rehoboth Beach. Chad?
Jim, a sort of calm has settled in here at Rehoboth Beach, and that is because, like Adam talked about, that eye is beginning to make its way on landfall. The rain has really died down. The winds have died down. A little bit of a gust here and there, but a little bit of a calm over the past 15 to 20 minutes. But those waves, as ferocious as ever, we're seeing waves of 15, 16, upwards of 20 feet. And I don't think TV at times gives it justice. I mean, these waves are so powerful, and to be here in person, they are thunderous, and they are just crashing into the shoreline. A short time ago, Delaware Governor Jack Markell held a press conference here at the Atlantic Sands Hotel, where we are hunkered down. He talked about the situation here at the shore. He said the sand dunes here along Rehoboth Beach are holding up at this point, but he stressed it is still early. Not a whole lot of flooding here at Rehoboth Beach. You know, you do have some streets taking on some water. If you go to the neighboring beach of Dewey, much more flooding there. Several streets, Dickinson, Van Dyke, underwater as the bay is overflowing its banks and trying to make its way to the ocean. And that is what officials here in Delaware fear, that if that bay reaches the Atlantic on the other side, that all those properties there will be underwater. And with high tide approaching, that is the major concern with Delaware state officials at this point. He stressed, though, at this point, no injuries of significance that have been reported, no real rescues down here in Delaware. Right now, they're just trying to keep an eye on the situation, and these thunderous waves are really moving in. But, you know, the meteorologists talk about it. When this eye begins to make landfall, there's a certain calm, and we're starting to experience that here in Rehoboth Beach. Not a whole lot of rain at this point, not a whole lot of wind, but certainly more ahead with Sandy coming ashore. Jim?
You can be sure of that. Thank you, Chad. Dan Cuellar is in Atlantic City, New Jersey tonight, and this is the scene according to him.
This was the devastating scene at Atlantic Avenue at New Hampshire. Huge portions of the boardwalk ripped apart and strewn across the landscape. Just before 8 o'clock this morning at around high tide, huge waves came in and washed away a 200 to 300 yard section of the boardwalk along Atlantic and Pacific Avenue. Witnesses say it was as if the ocean just came in and consumed it. There were large planks thrown about Atlantic and Pacific Avenue.
Yeah, I've been here since 1979 and I've never seen anything like it. We had waves as high as the light poles down on the boardwalk. And it was just ripping up boards on the boardwalk and throwing them up on the lot beside it.
Throughout the day, firefighters standing on front-end loaders were going door to door on flooded streets, looking to evacuate those who wanted to brave through the storm, but have since thought the better of it. We found 2 women where the water had already reached their front door, but were planning to stay anyway.
I've never seen it on Atlantic Avenue either. I've lived up in the inlet more, and it's always flooded up there, but I've never seen it like this up here.
What you guys going to do?
Yes, we're going to stay here. We're on the 3rd floor, so we're good. If it comes up to the 3rd floor, that means everybody watching this is in trouble. So
Nobody's safe
we're
then.
good, yeah. So we're good.
As you can see, the waves continue to get ever closer towards the boardwalk here in Atlantic City. Again, a curfew in effect until 6 o'clock in the morning and until Sandy makes its way through this beautiful city by the sea. In Atlantic City, Dan Cuellar, Channel 6 Action News.
Thank you, Dan. Action News reporter Annie McCormick is in Ocean City tonight. And Annie, as you know, they call Ocean City a dry community. Of course, they're talking about something quite different, but Ocean City is anything but dry tonight.
Well, Jim, within the past hour here in Ocean City, New Jersey, we definitely have felt Sandy's presence. In fact, the wind gusts have significantly picked up. They're about 50 to 60 miles per hour, and they come in big gusts, and then there's a little bit of a lull. The rain, though, has lightened up significantly. The street that we're on, we're in kind of a higher area of Ocean City, New Jersey, and we're at Laurel and Ocean roads. And over here, it hasn't really flooded so much. However, the rest of Ocean City, New Jersey is flooded. Take a look at this video. It was around 8 o'clock this morning that emergency management decided that all 3 ways out were completely cut off, including the main thoroughfare, the 52 Causeway. We're told, though, that there were a number of people that last minute wanted to evacuate even past the deadline, so the National Guard and also the emergency management were able to help them out and get them off to the mainland. But take a look at this video. This is video where the ocean actually ripped through the dunes, tore apart the fence, actually took some metal objects along with it, carried them down that block along with a bunch of sand, and actually flooded that whole block. A number of those homes, including some beachfront properties, were also flooded. There were a number of people that actually came out to look and see, and even though it's dangerous and you shouldn't do it, after seeing those waves today, they did look absolutely spectacular, and you understand why a lot of people want to come out here and take a glimpse. So I want to bring you back out here live where we are. I want to show you another thing. Because of the heavy winds, this is our Action News satellite truck that we actually had to park it between 2 houses because we wanted to block the wind. We wanted to make sure that that satellite dish would be able to be stable. That's why earlier in the broadcast that we had earlier, we were using a cell phone because at some points the wind gusts were just too strong. But at this point, still feels about 50 to 60 miles per hour, but we're waiting for much more to come from Sandy here in Ocean City, New Jersey. For now, we're live in Ocean City, New Jersey. Annie McCormick, Channel 6 Action News. Jim.
Thank you, Annie. From Ocean City to Cape May and Action News reporter Jennifer Joyce. Jennifer, what's the scene there?
Well, Jim, we've moved outside now in front of Congress Hall here to give you a better idea of what this storm is looking like. We have rain shooting out from all directions. We have major gusts of wind coming through. Earlier, I heard Chad Perdelli saying that they're seeing a little bit of a calm in Delaware, the calm before the storm. This is anything but calm. The rain and the wind is still pretty significant. Earlier, I did talk with the mayor. He told me, fortunately, they have not had any rescues yet today. He told me that they did have to evacuate a couple of people, though those people were escorted out by the fire department. He also told me that fire crews are right now hanging out at the firehouse, filling up on food, water, and rest during the height of the storm. And then probably around 8:30, when the high tide is expected, they will be back out here to monitor the streets. The one thing that the mayor did tell me is if this storm is on track to hit Cape May before that 8:30 p.m. high tide, that could be a major advantage to the people of Cape May. The mayor also told me that he spoke with Atlantic City Electric, and they're telling him they have not seen any power outages here in Cape May. They are trying to keep it that way. However, if we start seeing wind gusts of 70, 80 miles an hour, there's a good chance that that power will certainly be knocked out. And then the one thing that you should know, if the power does go out, the power companies will not be out working on those lines until wind levels die down to about 35 miles an hour. So again, this is what we're dealing with in Cape May. A lot of wind, a lot of rain, but fortunately no serious rescues, and everything is going well. Now we're waiting for Sandy. Reporting live in Cape May, I'm Jennifer Joyce, Channel 6 Action News. Jim.
Thank you, Jennifer. Some young men in Ocean City, New Jersey, used today's flooding to do some extreme kayaking. Eddie Keenan and his friends paddled their kayaks from their front door through the streets of Ocean City. The water was almost to the top of the above-ground swimming pool they passed, and once they got to the beach and saw the waves breaking over the bulkhead, they thought better of their excursion and went home. We do have updated power outage numbers right now. Atlantic City Electric is reporting 105,829 homes without power. Those are customers without power. PSE&G says over 156,000 customers are in the dark. The majority of those are in Essex County to the north. Delmarva is reporting over 16,000 customers without power, and PECO says it has 52,000 outages right now, half of which are in Bucks County. In the event that Sandy knocks out your power, we have live streaming coverage on our iPhone, iPad, and Android apps. You can also watch the on-air simulcast through 6abc.com. And we have also partnered with a number of local radio stations to broadcast our signal over their airwaves for people who lose power. WDAS 1480 AM and Mix 106.1 FM are carrying our signal until 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. 900 AM WURD will broadcast Action News from 7 p.m. tonight until 7 a.m. tomorrow. And 92.5 WXTU and Wired 96.5 will also carry our coverage as the storm progresses. And we do appreciate our colleagues from the radio side helping our viewers and their listeners with this comprehensive coverage of Hurricane Sandy. Philadelphia public and archdiocesan schools are closed tomorrow, as are many others in the region. You will see a list scrolling at the bottom of your screen and a complete list on 6abc.com. And needless to say, Action News continues with comprehensive coverage of Hurricane Sandy as we look at the Ben Franklin Bridge, and as we heard earlier late this afternoon from Sarah Bloomquist, even the Delaware River showing the effects of a churning current as Hurricane Sandy also moving into the Philadelphia area. Action News continues in just a moment. This is the live picture now of Cape May, where the rain is torrential and the hurricane has moved in on land. Hurricane Sandy has arrived. She has made landfall, and now we will see her course from this point on. But while the focus is on New Jersey and the Jersey Shore, public officials in Pennsylvania have been very busy as well, as they should be. Governor Christie, well, let's first look at New Jersey and the governor of New Jersey. Governor Christie spoke just a short time ago, and he admonished people, especially those in Atlantic City who remained in their homes despite his orders to evacuate. And with the worst of Sandy still to come, he says he will not risk first responders' lives. Residents who now get into trouble there, he says, will have to wait until the daylight at the earliest for help.
So for those of you who are on the barrier islands who decided it was a better idea to wait this out than to evacuate, and for those elected officials who decided to ignore my admonition, this is now your responsibility.
Governor Christie just a short time ago. Now to Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania Governor Tom Corbett wrapped up an update just a few moments ago when we have major news for travelers. The state is shutting down major roadways around Philadelphia in less than an hour from now.
We will be closing the major interstates around Philadelphia. That's 476, 76, 676, 95. City of Philadelphia is going to close down Route 1.
All right, well, let's talk about that again. 476, 676, 76, and I-95 and Route 1 will be closed at 7 o'clock tonight. They're trying to keep folks off the roads, and that should certainly help. Those closures will last until at least 2 o'clock tomorrow morning. 300 National Guard troops are on tap tonight in Delaware, and Governor Jack Markell says that number could be doubled as Sandy strikes. Just a short time ago, he thanked residents who have made moves to stay out of harm's way.
I want to thank all of the citizens who have taken this storm and continue to take the storm very seriously. You know, it's never easy to leave your home and to evacuate, but a few days of inconvenience will pale compared to a life lost. I also want to thank all the citizens outside.
From Delaware, let's go to the city of Philadelphia. Action News reporter Vernon Odom is now live at the Emergency Management Center in Spring Garden. Vernon, a lot of folks have had a lot of important things to say.
They have, Jim. Mayor Nutter among them. He's formally announced tonight that city government, to no one's surprise, will be closed down for yet another day. And there was also vital information on public schools and on SEPTA. Sandy continues to generate enormous uncertainty. Late today, Mayor Nutter announced that city government will be shut down again tomorrow, with the exception of essential workers like police, fire, EMS, and water department personnel.
The city of Philadelphia will be closed, except for public safety, emergency personnel, or essential employees, all of whom have been previously identified.
At mid-afternoon, Mayor Nutter went to the Emergency Operations Center to meet with his cabinet and other key players in the public sphere to see where things stood. SEPTA will start inspecting equipment and infrastructure in the morning after they hope Sandy's brutal assault starts to subside. Those tests and inspections will take at least 8 hours, and there are no guarantees SEPTA will operate at all tomorrow.
There will be no SEPTA service Tuesday morning. Let me repeat that. There will be no SEPTA service Tuesday morning.
That, of course, impacts on thousands of public school students who rely on mass transit to get to and from school. Therefore, no public school tomorrow.
The School District of Philadelphia will be closed tomorrow, Tuesday. The safety of our students, not only at school, but getting to and from school is extremely important.
Also tonight, Jim, the DA's office will be closed again tomorrow, so too the city's entire court system. Live in Center City, Vernon Odom, Channel 6 Action News.
All right, Vernon, thank you. A very close call for an Upper Darby family. Early this morning, a tree came down on the 4000 block of School Lane. It missed one house, but did strike a room in the other house. An infant in that room was injured slightly. A gas main was damaged. The child was checked out at the hospital. Action News was told that the baby's crib had been on the other side of the room. The results obviously could have been disastrous, but that was not the case. Action News reporter Sarah Bloomquist is along Delaware Avenue watching the Delaware River, and there is a lot to see. Sarah?
Well, Jim, it's the wind at this point. We've seen some changes here in the city of Philadelphia in the last hour. The first thing, the air feels warmer. It was real quiet for a short amount of time, and now we're really feeling the wind pick up here along Delaware Avenue and the Delaware River. We've been watching the river level throughout the day, and it did rise for a long time, or for a little earlier in the afternoon, but now it has gone back down considerably. The Race Street Pier, of course, is closed, but the trees out there you can see are illuminated, and they're really blowing around in the wind, and you can see just a little bit of rain there in the lights, but for the most part it's just these strong wind gusts coming through. As we come back out and look live here on Delaware Avenue, this is an area here at Race Street that always floods almost all the time in a rainstorm. So authorities have been watching here, but you can see it's dry at this point. But as you look up even at the street lights up above, they are really starting to bob around here in the winds, and even the trees out on Delaware Avenue. You can see the wind picking up here. People in the city are coming out now, I think because the rain subsided a little bit, so they've been coming out to check things out, and they're really coming across these winds, so it's still not a good idea to be out and about. Authorities advising you, they're closing down a lot of the streets and the highways at this point, to stay indoors and stay safe. Live along Delaware Avenue, I'm Sarah Bloomquist, Channel 6 Action News. Jim?
Thank you very much, Sarah. We're going to go live now to Alicia Vitarelli. And Alicia, I know you've been working on the social media and people calling in, and I've also been looking on my little iPad here, and I see comments like batten down the hatches, in case you lose power, download our app. I could watch Adam Joseph all day. No. Gee, I'm sorry. That's from Gracie Gorgeous, by the way. Okay. Alicia, maybe you have things that are a bit more instructive.
Jim, the videos, the images, the pictures, the stories that people have been sharing with us all throughout this day, we have been talking to you. We have been living this storm together, and the visuals that we are seeing tell this tale today along the Jersey Shore, cities under the sea. This is Ocean City, New Jersey. Unbelievable. As the hours go on, the images are more dramatic. And Kaylee here says, my poor hometown of Cape May, this breaks my heart. Well, you know what, Kaylee? It breaks ours too, because this water, the levels continue to rise. It's just a very sad situation at the Jersey Shore. You know, we heard from Governor Chris Christie before saying that, you know, people really need to stay out of harm's way. Margate is floating away. Look at these streets turned into virtual streams there. They have almost become rivers. In many cases, we're hearing the ocean and the bay meeting at certain points. So they are dramatic, and we certainly have our thoughts and prayers with everyone in these affected areas tonight. Look at this, Ortley Beach, New Jersey. These are some of the pictures coming in from our hashtag 6ABC Sandy on Twitter. If you can capture them safely, we do ask you to do so, because you are our eyes and ears out there as well, helping us tell the story. Look at Montgomery Avenue in Fishtown, a tree completely uprooted. Sarah Bloomquist showed us how those winds were just whipping and moving earlier, and it's just incredible to see. Greg took this picture, and we thank you, Greg, for